I am back with another naked review for you. Of course I'm not naked. Look, I sat in the garden in a vest top. I'm here in France, by the way. I'm at my mum's house in France. This is the room I'm staying in this time. I've made a little bit of a mess with just some bits on the bed, but it's a really lovely room. Beautiful butterflies and dragonflies on the wall. I'm in France. I got here yesterday evening, and tomorrow me and my mum are off to Brittany for a few days, just me and my mum, which will be really lovely. A lovely apartment with a swimming pool and the beach by I think a beach very close by. So that's going to be lovely, but that's not what I'm talking to you about today. I'm talking to you about two fragrances, and they are the new fragrances from Francesca Bianchi. Now, I've already mentioned this one in my previous video on fragrances I'd like to buy. You can't see it, so it's Sex and the Sea Neroli. You really can't see it in this light. Sex and the Sea Neroli. Anyway, I've tried it on skin a few times and I definitely know that I like it and I want to buy it, but I haven't really paid too much attention to it and certainly not ready to give a full review. But I'm going to wear it on one wrist today just to share what I think with you lot. And then the other one I'm going to test out is Etruscan Water, and that's a more of a green fragrance. Probably not really my thing because I don't really like a lot of greenery, but I haven't given it a proper wearing, so I'm going to wear that on the other wrist and I will give you my thoughts on that. I'm going to spray them now and I'll come back with you with some thoughts for you. I've just sprayed them, and I thought I'd just quickly take you on a little tour around the upstairs of the house in case you're interested. This is Mum and Steve's room. She has a lovely little seat by the window there and some French stuff. We've got some bits on the bed because we've just got back from, they spent 10 days in the UK. We've got some nice wardrobes here. So let's bring you out and see how lovely the doors are here. Mum's tapestry on the wall. This is just a very large corridor. You can see out the window. So that's the front part of the garden. Sounds like someone's out there mowing or something. So then we have, so this is all corridor. That's my room I just showed you, excuse the mess. Another tapestry on the wall up here. Some details. We have a nice bathroom with some flamingos. I love flamingos. And then this little area here. And then we walk through. Cupboard in front. Archway here. And this is another room. Again, a little bit messy. I hope my mum doesn't hate me for showing you this. And it's only messy because they've been away and there's a lot to do when they get back. And then, so this is a lovely big room, but you have to come through this room to get up to this floor. So I'm going to leave it there. This is the back of the house. I've just wandered round because Steve's out front and he's mowing on his ride-on mower. Boys with their toys, eh? This is the back door, which is in the through the kitchen to the back door. And there's a nice jacuzzi there. I have to ask my mum if she's got the heat going on that. And now let's talk about these frags. Oh, here comes Steve. Right then, so we'll start with Etruscan Water. It's actually much nicer than I realised. Say hi, Mum.
Hello. Excuse my hair, it's like hers.
So Etruscan Water is actually more of a floral green fragrance. It's kind of slightly bitter green, but it's not green like so it doesn't smell like a forest exactly. there's definitely a sweetness to it and a hint of something a little bit peppery, almost like peppery rocket. Now on the other hand we have Sex and the Sea Neroli. This one to me smells almost a little bit bubblegummy in the opening. You get the neroli, and the neroli is quite bitter, but there's a real sweetness and a soft fluffy furriness in there as well. I really like this one, so I'll come back to you with more in a minute. So it's been about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and first I'm going to talk to you about Etruscan Water. Behind me is a little chicken and duck hut, and there are 2 ducks in there sitting on eggs. So hopefully in maybe a week's time or so there might be some baby ducks here. I'm really hoping that I'm around to see them, but I digress. Etruscan Water has dried down to be quite powdery, like a lot of Francesca Bianchi's. In fact, I think all of them get quite powdery, and she has this thing that she does with orris root. She makes a really beautiful bass note with orris that is outstanding. It is deep, sexy, powdery, and quite addicting. So with Etruscan Water, the notes, I won't remember all of them, but the notes I do recall: bergamot, green tangerine, iris, musk, labdanum, jasmine, immortelle. If I can remember any more, I'll let you know. But for me, it definitely smelt more floral in the opening than it does now. I think I was getting more jasmine to start with. It's now very much a powdery, slightly sweet, slightly bitter. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm smelling my wrist or the farmness around me. For a green fragrance, I would happily wear this one, and because it's not green in the way the greens I don't like, which is galbanum is one of my least liked notes, and there's none of that here. And I like how it's balanced. You have this fresh green smell, you have kind of a bitterness which might come from the petitgrain. It's like wearing it's a kind of like a citrus cologne, but with much more interesting notes added. So you do have the notes of a citrus cologne, i.e. the citrus, sort of tangerine and the bergamot, but you've got the musk and the orris and labdanum just giving it this depth, and I'd imagine quite good longevity too. It is extract de parfum. It definitely feels like a Francesca Bianchi fragrance in that it has that unique powdery orris, almost suede like soft fluffiness. It's kind of veering on animal territory but without going full dirtiness. There's ambergris in here as well, which I think is lending it a slightly salty edge. You have this great combination of bitter, sweet, salty, sexy, all in one hit. I think if you like a traditional masculine cologne, you will like this if you're looking for something that's a different take on that kind of genre. I actually really like it. Not to the point that I want to buy a bottle, but I really like it. So let's move on to the other one. Sex and the Sea Neroli. I just want to make sure you know I'm not naked still. I still am wearing clothes. Look at this terrible, terrible tan marks or burn marks. I'm a really bad example. Wear sunscreen, people. Wear sunscreen. I'm naughty. So this is much more my thing because it's a bit sweeter. So I've sprayed a bit extra up here not so long ago. Oh, do you want to see the chicken? It's just come in. Hello. Chicken just popped by to say hello, which is kind of sweet. It's coming up to me actually. Hello. I think it's a boy. Not that I'm looking between its legs. I believe Mummy Dearest told me this one's a boy. Are you a boy? are. I might have scared it off. Sex and the Sea Neroli. Oh, here's the ducks. These are the boy ducks, not the girl ones that are sitting on the eggs. We've got two boys, I think it's father and son, and then the two are in the hutch. Hutch? What is it, a hut? Is it a hutch? They're in the bird box, sitting on their eggs. So let's go back to Sex and the Sea Neroli. Yeah, this is way more up my street. I really like Neroli anyway. Opens with very bitter, very strong Neroli. The change is so good. It goes from being quite bitter and sharp and very bracing to taking the route to that soft, fluffy, slightly sweet Francesca Bianchi signature dry down. It kind of reminds me of juicy fruit chewing gums. You know the sticks of chewing gum that are a bit powdery, they've got a bit of powder on them. Reminds me a little bit of that. And I know that's not doing it any justice, of course, but it really is. It's like that. If juicy fruit were to be interpreted into a fine fragrance by a very clever person who wants to make something exceptional, then that's what you get. So it's kind of fruity, powdery, a little bit sweet, lots and lots of lovely iris, really, really quite beautiful. So here we are, it's the end of the day. I seem to have chickens about to attack me, and it's nearly 8 PM now, so the fragrances have been on my skin for many hours, and I thought I'd go back to Sex and the Sea Neroli. Now this one has honey, mimosa, coconut, iris, labdanum, benzoin, petitgrain, rose, plus other stuff that I've forgotten about. And what I'm getting now in this far dry down is definitely the honey, and it's really, really smooth and blended with the iris to make it powdery. Hints of the coconut, but very mild coconut, not a synthetic, overtly sweet, cheap smelling coconut, just a hint of coconut. Ever so slightly fluffy and floral, really, really lovely. I really like this one. It's almost like marshmallows dipped in honey. It's lovely. So then we go back to Etruscan Water, and this has got really interesting. It smelled a little bit like incense earlier. Look at my face, I think I've burnt it. Oops. It does smell powdery as well. It's not as soft, powdery and fluffy as the Sex and the Sea Neroli. It's a little bit sharper, less sweet, more bitter. Kind of cozy though at the same time. I like it actually. But I can see it appealing more to men, only just. They're completely unisex, a pair of them, but this has a slightly more masculine edge. It smells a little bit more woodsy, kind of like incense, and this sharp, bitter green aspect, but also kind of cozy and resinous at the same time. Really interesting fragrance. But my favourite is definitely this one because it's sweeter, it's fluffier. I'm really enjoying the honey that I'm now noticing, and I love iris and I like sweet fragrances. It's just a soft, comforting, almost milky, almost like rice powder or rice milk kind of smell. Really nice. So in conclusion, they're both amazing. Definitely give yourself a chance to sample them. Francesca has sample sets on her site for a very reasonable cost. They're very small, but they're so potent that you can get a few full wearings out of them, and I think you have to actually give them time because they take time to get to know, because they change so much on your skin. They're not simple at all, and you may find that you don't necessarily like something straight away, but then you find yourself falling head over heels in love. So well worth checking out. Thanks for watching. Come on in. Hello. I haven't actually got any food for you. I'm so sorry. Hello. Who's that? Oh. Hello, baby. Oh, look at this one.